15 Strange Facts About Halloween. Halloween these days is mostly known for the panhandling of candy by children. But from weird European origins to world records, the most ghoulish holiday of the year has got more than a few tidbits you may not have known. Number 15. Halloween is the second biggest commercial holiday in the United States. Annually, Americans spend around $6 billion on Halloween. This estimate includes not just candy, but also the myriad of costumes and decorations. The biggest holiday is understandably Christmas, which by comparison rakes in about $400 billion. Number 14. The name Halloween is actually a contraction. It's a shortening of the term All Hallows Evening. The traditions of this holiday are believed to have been taken from a Celtic celebration called Samhain, a pagan festival. This festival is also considered the Old Celtic New Year and signifies the Feast of the Dead. Early Christian missionaries are believed to have chosen this time of the year for a festival in order to easily integrate the practices of the converted pagans. Number 13. Halloween, at least for adults, is mostly an excuse to party in weird or goofy costumes. The tradition of dressing up during this time also harkens back to Samhain. It was believed that during this time, the souls of the dead could enter into the world of the living, because the realms of living and dead were overlapping. Dressing up in white garb and masks made it so that the spirits would be fooled into thinking that you were a fellow spirit. Number 12. Trick-or-treating also spun out of the practice of dressing up during this time after the Catholic Church adopted the pagan traditions. On All Hallows Eve, children would dress up in costumes and go door to door asking for food or sometimes money. A song or prayer was said by the child in exchange. Commonly, a child was given a sweet cake called a soul cake that was meant to represent the freeing of a soul from purgatory. Number 11. In Mexico, Halloween is celebrated a little differently. Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, is a 3-day celebration where it is believed that the souls of the dead return to their families' homes. The families set up altars with the favorite treats and food of their ghostly relatives to honor them. The families may also spend time cleaning and decorating the grave sites of the deceased. Number 10. Halloween is the perfect time of year for scary movies, and no film was more apt for this season than John Carpenter's cult classic, simply titled Halloween. Bringing in $47 million in the US, it multiplied its initially small budget of around $300,000. The villain, Michael Myers, famously wears a William Shatner mask. The reason? It was the cheapest mask the prop department could find at the costume store. After a bit of work, the mask was given its iconic ghastly white look. The changes were so drastic that initially, the actual William Shatner didn't even recognize the mask of his own face. Number 9. The carving of jack-o'-lanterns, or more specifically gourds into lanterns, goes back literally hundreds of years. For example, over 700 years ago, the indigenous Maori people of New Zealand carved gourds into lanterns, and even the Maori word for gourd, hue, was also the same word for lampshade. Number 8. The jack-o'-lantern proper comes from the story of Stingy Jack. As the story goes, Stingy Jack convinced the devil to turn into a coin after a round of drinks in order to pay for them. Instead, Jack took the coin and stuffed it into his pocket next to a silver cross. Jack released the devil on some conditions, including that he wouldn't claim Jack's soul after he died. When Jack died, God wouldn't allow him into heaven, and since he made the deal with the devil, he couldn't enter hell. The devil gave Jack a burning coal to light his way as he walked off into the night. Jack put the coal into a lantern carved from a turnip, and was left to roam the earth as Jack of the Lantern. Number 7. The heaviest recorded pumpkin weighed over 2,300 pounds. On October 12, 2014, Benny Meyer presented this monster to the Great Pumpkin Commonwealth in Ludwigsburg, Germany. However, the biggest pumpkin pie ever was baked on September 25, 2010, by the New Bremen giant pumpkin growers in New Bremen, Ohio. It weighed over 3,500 pounds and was 20 feet in diameter. This pie smashed the previous record of around 2,000 pounds, a record that was already held by the growers themselves. Number 6. The classic Halloween colors, orange and black, have a bit of symbolism about them. Orange is one of the main colors of autumn, being the color of pumpkins and changing leaves. Orange can also represent strength and endurance, possibly in regards to a bountiful and hearty harvest. On the other hand, the black symbolizes the end of harvest, the coming of winter, and just general death. Number 5. Arguably, no animal is more affiliated with Halloween than the black cat. According to superstition, black cats are omens of bad luck and mischief. Their bad rap comes from the idea that they were often familiars, demons in the service of witches taking the form of animals. Familiars were also known to take the form of other kinds of spooky creatures, such as spiders, bats, or owls. Number 4. On Halloween, candy is the big draw. 93% of kids go trick-or-treating, and rather unsurprisingly, 84% of kids prefer getting candy or gum in their bag than any other treat. Also unsurprisingly, parents are known for sneaking more than a few candies for themselves from their kids' bag of loot. 90% of parents admit to helping themselves, and that their favorite snacks to steal are mini chocolate bars. Number 3. While it's probably a good idea to tell a child to avoid taking candy from a stranger, on Halloween they're relatively safe. Most stories of children becoming ill or hurt by tainted candy end up being rather unfounded, or even just plain lies. Wild stories about dangerous candy tampering are mostly perpetuated by the news media, running news stories based on coincidence or hearsay. Number 2. Halloween has been connected with many tragic deaths, but none more famous than that of Harry Houdini. Houdini died after his show on October 31st, 1926, from a ruptured appendix. It isn't known exactly what caused this, but some theories include a poisoning by a group of spiritualists that weren't very fond of him, or even that it was an accident caused by a punch to the gut from a young man testing Houdini's famous strength. Number 1. Halloween, while all fun and games nowadays, can actually make children act more evil. There's a concept in social psychology called de-individuation, where an individual loses their self-awareness while in a situation where they feel they cannot be recognized, like in a group setting. Some studies have found that when costumed and unsupervised, children were more likely to take more candy than they were told to, in comparison to children without a disguise.